A few months ago, I thought my investing journey was finally starting to come together. I had built up my ETF portfolio over several years, only to sell everything to help buy my first home in 2025. And now, in 2026, I'm starting again from zero. At the same time, I'm also facing redundancy from my IT job of 10 years at the end of June, while raising my 6-month-old baby girl. So honestly, life feels pretty uncertain right now. But through all of this, I've realized something important. The simpler investing becomes, the easier it is to stay consistent long-term. In today's video, I want to share the simple ETF portfolio strategy I'm using to restart investing in Australia in 2026, why I'm moving away from my old portfolio, and why simplifying everything matters even more to me now. If you watched my first video, you'd know I talked about how I originally started investing during COVID lockdowns after reading The Barefoot Investor. I went from knowing basically nothing about money to budgeting properly, investing consistently, and eventually building enough savings and investments to purchase my first home in 2025. To make that happen, I sold all my shares to help fund the property purchase. And honestly, even though buying my first home was a massive milestone, it also meant my investment portfolio basically got reset back to zero. Now in 2026, I'm rebuilding everything from scratch again. But this time, I want my strategy to be even simpler, easier to automate, and easier mentally during stressful periods in life. Previously, my ETF portfolio was made up of two ETFs. 30% Vanguard Australian Shares Index ETF, VAS, 70% Vanguard MSCI Index International Shares ETF, VGS. And honestly, for most people, I still think this is an excellent simple portfolio. So let me quickly explain what each ETF actually is. VAS is an Australian ETF that tracks the top 300 companies listed on the Australian Stock Exchange. So when you buy VAS, you're basically buying small pieces of Australia's biggest companies. That includes companies like the major Australian banks, mining companies, supermarkets, healthcare companies, telecommunications. Instead of trying to pick individual Australian stocks yourself, VAS gives you exposure to the broader Australian market in one ETF. And one thing Australians like about VAS is the distribution income, because Australian companies tend to pay relatively strong distributions compared to other countries. Then I paired that with VGS. VGS gives exposure to large international companies across developed countries around the world. A large portion of VGS is made up of US companies, including some of the biggest companies globally. So, through VGS, you're indirectly investing in businesses like technology companies, healthcare giants, consumer brands, global financial companies. The benefit of combining VAS and VGS was diversification. I had exposure to Australia, the United States, Europe, and other developed international markets. And honestly, I liked how simple it was. It was easy to automate using a brokerage platform. And in my next video, I'll actually compare some of the most popular Australian brokerage platforms and explain which ones I'm considering using moving forward. But moving forward, I've decided I want to simplify things even further. As I mentioned earlier, I'm being made redundant at the end of June. And with a 6-month-old baby girl at home, I honestly don't have the time or energy right now to constantly research ETFs, rebalance portfolios, or overanalyze investments. And that's why I'm moving away from VAS and VGS into a single ETF called BetaShares Diversified All Growth ETF, DHHF. DHHF is basically what people call an ETF of ETFs. Instead of holding individual companies directly, DHHF holds multiple underlying ETFs inside one fund, which means with one ETF purchase, I'm automatically getting exposure to Australian shares, US shares, international shares, and emerging markets. It's already diversified for me automatically. And that's the biggest reason I like it. Instead of manually managing multiple ETFs, I can simply invest into one ETF every fortnight and keep life simple. And honestly, simplicity matters more to me now than trying to optimize every tiny detail. Because the easier investing feels, the more likely I am to stay consistent long-term.
Another reason I like the idea of a single ETF portfolio is automation. I want investing to happen in the background without needing to constantly think about it. My goal moving forward is to automatically transfer money into my brokerage account every fortnight after payday and invest consistently. Because realistically, motivation comes and goes. Life gets busy. Unexpected expenses happen. And if investing depends entirely on discipline every single fortnight, eventually most people stop. Automation removes that friction, and honestly, I think building systems is far more important than trying to perfectly predict markets. I also think people underestimate how emotional investing becomes during market downturns. It's easy to say you'll keep investing when markets are going up, but when headlines are negative, when portfolios are down, and everyone online is panicking, that's when investing becomes difficult psychologically. And that's another reason I prefer simple investing now. The less complicated my portfolio is, the easier it becomes mentally to stay invested during volatile periods. Because long-term, staying invested is usually more important than constantly trying to outsmart the market. My strategy moving forward is going to be simple. Consistently investing every fortnight using dollar cost averaging, also known as DCA. Dollar cost averaging basically means investing regularly regardless of what the market is doing. So instead of trying to perfectly time the market, you invest consistently over time. For example, when markets go down, your money buys more units. When markets go up, your investments grow in value. And over long periods of time, this removes a lot of emotion and stress from investing. One of the biggest mistakes beginner investors make is waiting for the perfect time to invest. But realistically, nobody consistently predicts the market perfectly. Consistency usually beats trying to time everything. And the other powerful thing about long-term investing is compounding. Wealth equals contributions plus compound growth. The earlier and more consistently you invest, the more time your money has to grow on itself over years and decades. And honestly, that's the long-term mindset I'm trying to focus on now. I'm still learning along the way, and I definitely don't have everything figured out.
But I hope documenting this journey helps other Australians who are also starting or restarting their investing journey. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel. And in the next video, I'll compare some of the most popular Australian brokerage platforms and explain which one I'm planning to use for automated investing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.